In this video, we'll go into my two favorite drills to help improve the transition sequence for a golfer and the peak speed sequence for a hitter. So let's start with the golfer, and we know that the transition sequence is the most important sequence that we need to make sure that the golfer has right. So again, we talked about the error being when I get up to the top of my swing, the pelvis not going first and the torso and arms going first before the pelvis. So the drill that I use a lot with my athletes is something called a step change of direction, where if I have you can do this as a practice swing, or eventually you can do it and have your athlete hit a golf ball with it. So you're going to have them set up with their feet together, nearly touching or touching, and if they are hitting a ball, you're going to make sure the ball is out ahead of their front foot, so when they do take the step, it's in an appropriate spot to actually hit the ball. So what you're going to do with this drill is the player steps, and at the same time as they step, they start to bring their arms back up to the top of their backswing, just like this. Okay, so they're sequencing the step with the arms moving back. Now, the key to this drill is that the step and the foot has to plant before the arms get up to the top of their swing, so that they can then shift and change directions with their pelvis first while the arms are still traveling to the top of the swing. This will definitely eliminate any want for the player to go first with the upper body. So it would just be here, and then they would start with the lower body, and then everything else would follow. They can do it in a practice swing, or you could actually have them hit a golf ball with that. So that's a great drill. It's called step change direction to help your player improve their transition sequence. Now on the baseball side, we talked about the peak speed sequence being a very, very important sequence for a hitter. So the thing about it is, when we start talking about peak speeds and segments moving as fast as they possibly can, the brain really doesn't compute when you try and tell it not to do something. So if the arm is peaking before the torso, you just can't tell your player, hey, don't get your arm going as fast, because the brain just does not compute that, right? Because at that point in time, that batter is trying to hit the ball as hard as they can, and that's just how they're doing it. So you need to redistribute where you're telling them to do something more earlier in the chain, so that as a result, the arm will wait just a little bit longer. So for that, okay, you can set up two ranges where you've got your hitter, okay, and all you're going to do is you're going to have them take a step, and as they do that, you can have them even bring their arms back like we did with the step change drill, so that they're not going to want to go early with the arm. It's still moving back a little bit. And then from there, as they step, they're going to blast the pelvis as fast as they can. And then you can have them hit off of a tee with that. You can make air swings, whatever you wanted to do. But the goal of the drill is to step and then get really aggressive with the pelvis, which will start to pull the torso with it. And as a result, because the arms were working their way back a little bit, it will allow the arm to wait just a split second longer, and you should be able to get your player in a 1, 2, 3, 4 sequence and give them the feel of what that's like with that drill. So try those two drills to correct the transition sequence for a golfer and the peak speed sequence for one of your hitters. Look for next week's video, where we'll talk about stretch and why stretch is important for your athlete in their golf or baseball swing.